You're listening to the Heartland Newsfeed Radio Network, heartlandnewsfeed.com.
The Public News Service Daily Newscast for Monday, January the 14th, 2019. I'm Mike Clifford. President Trump down 5% in the latest poll as the government shutdown drags on. Also on our Monday rundown, prison workers say the shutdown could endanger public safety and encouraging diversity among nature lovers. Topping our news, a CNN poll published Sunday found that Trump's disapproval rating is now at 57%. That's a 5-point difference from December. The ongoing partial government shutdown began December the 22nd. The Hill notes the poll also found his approval rating is at 37%. That's roughly the same as it was last month. According to the poll, 55% of respondents said Trump is to blame for the shutdown. 32% said Democrats are mostly to blame. Another 9% said both sides are to blame. And as federal employees go into their second pay period without a paycheck, desperation to make ends meet could pose serious risk for workers in the federal prison system. Tramel Gomes has our report.
With no end in sight for the shutdown, workers are worried, including those who commute from out of state for jobs at the Federal Correctional Institution in Tallahassee. Ray Coleman is president of the American Federation of Government Employees Union Local. He's also a corrections officer at the prison and says some people serving time will use anything to their advantage, including overly stressed employees.
They'll test you. They'll definitely try to see what they can get away with, see what they can get over on, see if they can compromise a staff member because they know you aren't getting paid. And when that happens, then you have a problem.
Hundreds of thousands of workers are stranded without pay as President Donald Trump demands funding for his long-promised border wall. The Florida AFL-CIO and other labor groups are organizing a series of rallies and events around the state urging the president and Congress to reopen the government. Coleman says although they aren't getting paid, he and many others are still required to be at work or risk disciplinary actions.
And the Trump administration has taken steps to shield the Interior Department from public scrutiny by restricting public records requests allowed through the Freedom of Information Act, also known as FOIA.
The proposal would allow the agency to deny requests it deems burdensome or vague, and officials at the agency say it's necessary because FOIA requests are bogging down the department's work. Jason O'Neill with the Western Values Project calls the move an attack on open public records and transparency.
As our organization and others have found, there's been a clear link between special interests, industry interests, and the work and the rule changes that have been done at Interior under this administration.
Interior Department officials say the changes are needed because FOIA requests have increased 30% in the past 2 years. Without access to government records, O'Neill says his group would not have uncovered documents showing industry requests for changes to the Greater Sage-Grouse Management Plan to tip the scale for oil and gas producers over ranching and other interests. He says watchdog organizations such as his and the news media rely on the Freedom of Information Act when agencies aren't transparent in their decision-making. For Public News Service, I'm Roz Brown.
A group of 9 volunteer aid workers goes on trial in Tucson this week for providing humanitarian aid to immigrants at risk crossing the Arizona desert.
The 9 defendants, all volunteers with the nonprofit group No More Deaths, were charged in 2017 with misdemeanors for their activities in the Cabeza Prieta National Wildlife Refuge on the U.S.-Mexico border. The group places jugs of water and other survival supplies for migrants in the refuge. Officials say hundreds of people have died in recent years making the trek across the unforgiving desert terrain. Justine Orlovsky, with No More Deaths, says providing humanitarian aid to save lives should not be a crime.
The reason that we provide aid in that corridor is because we have found and recovered numerous human remains, upwards of hundreds over the course of years. So we see that there's a need there. That means people are traveling on foot through Cabeza.
Orlovsky says No More Deaths is planning a rally outside the federal district court in Tucson prior to the opening of the trial on Tuesday. She says the 9 volunteers were arrested by federal officers for violations such as leaving food and water in the refuge, driving in the area without a permit, and trespassing. The U.S. Border Patrol claims the volunteers' actions are illegal and enable migrants to illegally enter the country. Mark Richardson reporting.
No More Deaths Charter states that their goal is to prevent death and suffering along the Mexico-U.S. border. The group says their volunteers have faced similar charges in the past, but none of them was convicted. And finally, Antoinette Kerr tells us Western North Carolina's rich public lands are technically open to all. A new group has decided to go the extra mile to encourage more people of color to enjoy them.
Elsie Brown, with the coalition Blue Ridge Forever, says the Pathways to Parks group, based in Asheville, was formed with a focus on inclusion.
There's sort of an image, there's a particular kind of person that is well represented. Our population is becoming more and more mixed race and more people of color. It's really important that we really step it up as environmental organizations and engage those people.
The National Park Service says Great Smoky Mountains National Park had more than 16 million visitors last year, and 97% self-identified as white.
A survey of nearly 3,000 Americans and Canadians found that among the 1 million people who went camping for the first time in 2016, nearly 1 in 5 was black and 11% were Latino. That's double the rate for those groups in 2014. I'm Mike Clifford. Thanks for starting your week cruising and cruising with Public News Service. We are member and listener supported, and we're online at publicnewsservice.org.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets. And they all have one thing in common. Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard, that's optional. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Allison is perfect. I mean, she'd never tell you that. She's humble and perfect. She likes everyone. She even likes her untidy roommate's weird guinea pig. Allison, wait, are you texting and driving? Allison, no. That's the exact opposite of what I was just saying about you. Why, Allison? Why? Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
We are live outside the home of Joe and Rosie Goddard, where a pretty big tickle fight broke out just minutes ago. Sources say their father instigated the laughter. Let's go inside for a comment. Apparently, they have no comment. Dads, let this be a reminder that it only takes a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Hey, good day to you. Welcome to RFD Illinois on a Monday. I'm Rita Frazier here at the Illinois Farm Bureau in Bloomington, starting another week and lots of news to pass along. DeLoss will be joined by the corner economist Mike Doherty in just a few minutes. They'll talk about all of the numbers. They love to do that. And most importantly, what it means to us here in the ag industry. That's coming up. We'll also hear a report from Matt Kay, Washington correspondent, talking about the shutdown, its impact, what it's been like for many agencies, including the Ag Department. We'll talk also with Brad Schumacher. Brad is a farmer in Marshall County, also a district manager for Stone Seed. Met Brad a couple of years back on a harvest tour and enjoyed the conversation. So we checked in about some of the decisions that still need to be finalized ahead of this spring planting season. We know we just started a new year, but lots of decisions that in past years have been made. This year, still a little left to do as they deal with higher input costs and many other decisions. So we'll have that. We'll check the markets in the overnight and get an updated forecast. It's all coming your way on this edition of RFD Illinois. Stay with us.
With this week's edition of Farm Week, the early word, here's DeLoss Yonke. Benefits from the new United States-Mexico-Canada trade agreement will be negated by tariffs and U.S. withdrawal from the Trans-Pacific Partnership, according to the Center for Global Trade Analysis. Get in-depth information about the current agricultural trade situation in the latest Farm Week. Bureau County farmer Michael Ganshow and his crop advisor Malcolm Stambaugh of AgView FS have earned a national 4R award from the Fertilizer Institute. Learn more about their award-winning conservation efforts in this week's edition of Farm Week.
No other farm weekly in Illinois has as many people on the ground in Illinois covering Illinois agriculture for you with the depth on key issues to help keep you profitable. And don't forget, you can get daily or even more frequent updates online anytime at farmweeknow.com.
We're back here on RFD Illinois. I'm Rita Frazier. House approval of bills to reopen USDA and other federal agencies has put on display the political futility of now the longest partial government shutdown in history. RFD Washington correspondent Matt Kay reports.
Lawmakers, most still accepting their paycheck, while some 800,000 federal workers lost theirs, spent days last week futilely debating bills that had no chance of being enacted to reopen affected departments, including USDA. Neither side budged on border wall funding as the political finger-pointing and name-calling escalated. Democrats passed messaging bills going nowhere, intended to pressure Republicans and the president to reopen shuttered agencies. But the only agreement came on a bill to ensure furloughed workers get missed pay once the shutdown ends. Incoming House Ag Appropriations Chair Sanford Bishop.
USDA has stopped making loans and grants for rural development programs, such as housing, water, and wastewater facilities. New grants to our universities for agriculture research cannot be made. Across the nation, Farm Service Agency county offices have been closed since December 28th. Farmers applying for relief from retaliatory tariffs are in limbo, waiting for the shutdown to end. Nearly 33,000 USDA employees who are funded by this bill are currently furloughed.
But former Ag Spending Chair, Republican Robert Adderholt, complained Democrats were repackaging bills the GOP Senate passed last year, never agreed to by the House, in a bid to score political points. Adderholt urged colleagues,
reject this strategy of passing the Senate bills, which at the end of the day is not going to bring us any closer to resolving the partial government shutdown. To paraphrase the president's remarks 2 nights ago, in order for us to resolve this funding dispute, we need to invest in border security, not because we hate the people on the outside of our borders, but because we love the people within our borders. The only thing that is immoral is for politicians to stand by and do nothing.
Using the word House Speaker Nancy Pelosi used to describe a border wall in the Democrats' response to President Trump's Oval Office address to the nation. The USDA spending bill passed 243 to 183 with just 10 GOP votes. But Senate Republicans refused to take up any House bills to reopen agencies until the border wall dispute is resolved. For the RFD Radio Network, Matt Kay, Washington.
Thanks, Matt. Well, meanwhile, farmers still have a lot of decisions to make and lots of issues to deal with ahead of the next planting season. Brad Schumacher works with Stone Seed and is a farmer in Marshall County. Brad talks with us about what's on farmers' minds out in the country, cutting costs, dealing with higher input costs, and, again, lots to handle ahead of another season.
A lot of guys are still, they know margins have been tight the last, especially going into next year. So I think, some guys who are pretty comfortable with raising corn on corn and side dress and spray fungicide. And, so you're starting to see some of those guys are doing more corn. Some of the older guys that are, financially pretty sound, they're staying in their 50-50 rotation. So, like I said, a lot of interesting conversations. I've had a couple guys go to non-GMO corn. I've had some guys go to double pros. It all reflects on what a guy thinks rootworm pressure is in their area. The only thing I remind him is in my 27 years in the feed industry, I've been at 3 different events for rootworms. I said we never really know when they're coming, so you just have to decide how comfortable you are and what percent of risk you want to put on your farm.
With the fall that we had, and we had heard that a lot of guys did not get a chance to put on anhydrous when they wanted to. Now we're seeing anhydrous prices, edge back up and then seeing that price really pop. What are you hearing in regards to that?
So luckily right there in Marshall County, we had a lot of guys were done by the 10th of October. A lot of guys started shooting gas at the end of October. So right there where I live, we got quite a bit of our anhydrous on. I know some of the areas to the west in that where harvest was delayed a little bit. But that is one thing that, there is a fair amount of ammonia that's got to go on. And with that stuff trending $50 to $75 a ton higher than what they could have, put it on last fall for, that could have a little bit of an impact on this corn on corn and an acre shift too yet this spring. We would get an early spring there in March. I think like I said, everybody's trying to get that on. But, if we have an early spring, I think you'll still see a lot of gas go on.
Brad Schumacher, Marshall County. DeLoss is back with a Corner Economist. Next, this is RFD Illinois.
Corn. Thanks to Illinois corn farmers, you can see it just about everywhere here in the land of Lincoln. What you may not know is the unexpected places you can find corn, like your gas tank. 97% of all fuel sold in the U.S. is a 10% ethanol blend. And here in Illinois, we're a top producer of ethanol. Not only does it drive your car, it drives our economy. Be sure to proudly choose an ethanol blend at the pump the next time you fill up. Illinois runs on homegrown corn and Illinois-made ethanol. Visit ilcorn.org to find out more. A message from Illinois corn farmers and their checkoff.
Farm Week and FarmWeekNow.com journalist Dina Stroish connects rural routes for you. From the farm bill to crop insurance to GMO labeling, her expertise is apparent in the stories she reports. Here's a bit about her rural roots.
I get to meet interesting people and share their stories, and I get paid to do it. I cover ag policy and really enjoy keeping the farming community updated on these important issues.
Be it routes or roots, RFD Radio, FarmWeekNow.com, and Farm Week keep you connected.
Hey, Illinois soybean farmers, Better Beans are back and coming to an area near you. Better Beans is the only event series that brings you expert soybean tips and insights specific to your region, your farm, and your conditions, so you can get the most out of your acres. To find the Better Beans event nearest you, or to register for free today, visit ilsoy.org/betterbeans. That's ilsoy.org/betterbeans. Welcome back to RFD Illinois. On a Monday, I'm DeLoss Yonke with corner economist Mike Doherty, senior economist at Illinois Farm Bureau. Hello, Mike.
Hey, DeLoss.
What do you got for me?
You're all over the place this time of year. We're all over the place this time of year. Be interesting what we're talking about today because the president's going to speak at AFBF's annual meeting later today. And he might be, one of the things that was discussed, he might be talking about recent benefits like the USMCA, Mexican-Canadian Trade Agreement.
I bet he'll bring that up.
But you were part of an event this past week, and you can read about this in more detail in the issue in this week's issue of Farm Week.
Okay.
Also about USMCA, which wasn't exactly rosy.
No. So we had this fantastic speaker.
Yeah. The agreement's okay, but it's other things like the tariffs that would be a problem.
Right.
Yeah.
If we don't get rid of those tariffs and other things that are happening on the trade front.
Who was it this past week?
So that speaker was a professor from Purdue University, and he is the director of the Center for Global Trade Analysis. It's called GTAP, Global Trade Analysis Project. Very respected. It's got, you go on their line, you can look that up, and they've got like 20 different people, professors working in that center attached to it, plus an advisory committee that's pretty impressive. So Dr. Dominique van der Mensbroek, can you speak Dutch? Okay. Non-something, Van der. How about just say Dominique van der? Because when you say that much, it sounds like a very, very intelligent guy. Yeah, really these are the kind of people that know everything. So director of the center, but he gave a very engaging presentation, at our Ag Legislative Roundtable just a couple days ago, and so I emailed him afterwards and got a copy of his presentation. I was very impressed with their analysis over there, showing that the USMCA agreement, which is to take has not been ratified yet. If it gets ratified, the export gain due to the USMCA agreement is, according to the GTAP model, is $450 million, but a loss of $9.5 billion due to the other parts of the trade war. So the point being, there's a gain there with the USMCA, but it's swamped by all the losses that if we don't get all these other things straightened out. Of course, oil seeds we already know, right? Mm-hmm. So soybeans took it on the chin worse than anything. But also meat products. So a significant loss, almost $2 billion loss in meat products, which would be led by your pork products on that. A significant loss there. Loss of dairy products, gained in Canada, but loss in Mexico.
Right. So especially the things you're talking about here, oil seeds, pork, corn would also have an impact on there. So not just would it hurt U.S., but also hurt in Illinois. Yeah,
corn, luckily, not nearly so much because we are so little insulated. Maybe through sales to Mexico, yes, they've been hurt, and through pork, sales have been hurt, right? Okay. But some insulation thanks partly to ethanol. You know, we export ethanol, that's corn going out too.
So also ramifications in from labor, land values as well. So not an overall glowing report. Again, you could read about that in detail in this week's edition of Farm Week.
There you go.
Also, you have someone coming to Government Affairs Leadership Conference next month.
Yeah, very excited. Aaron Curtis, who's with Midco.
Oh, I know Aaron.
There
you go.
Old buddy Aaron's coming in. And I hear he is a very dynamic speaker. I've not heard him speak, but I hear he's excellent. He's coming to the February 19th Government Affairs Leadership Conference in Springfield at the Abraham Lincoln Hotel. And he's going to speak in one of the breakout sessions about basis. There's been we've received calls from farmers and others about the basis being this measurement of the gap between local corn and soybean prices versus the corn and soybean prices that you'd see on the Chicago Board of Trade on a near-term contract, and the relationship between those prices and whether or not that relationship is changing in various parts of our state.
So in just a few minutes, we'll hear a market update with the overnight numbers, and so you will hear Chicago futures prices.
Right.
But when you call your local elevator, you don't get the same price.
Right.
And how much less is that price? And it has been considerably less last fall and hasn't completely rebounded. And at the same time, you know, we still see a lot of temporary storage full. So that's the market also suggesting, well, we don't need so much. And if it doesn't need so much, then the basis can widen.
Correct.
Against us, not to our favor. Yeah.
You got it there, Air Professor.
Not bad.
Good summary of that.
Yeah. And if it's bad here, how much worse is it in states
like the Dakotas?
Oh, yes. The farther away you get from infrastructure.
Farther away from New Orleans and closer to ports of the Pacific Northwest going to China where nobody's buying it. So backed up there.
So Aaron's coming.
He's going to talk about basis, explain it, but he's also going to talk about what we can do about it. What policies can Farm Bureau pursue to narrow the basis, to keep it from widening? What can farmers do? And what role does it play in reallocating resources toward transportation, storage, and things like that?
Wow. So you can contact your local County Farm Bureau office and ask about that. You can also learn more about the conference online at ilfb.org. Not too bad. Mike, thanks so much.
Let's go get the snow shovels out. Get ready.
Goodness. Mike Doherty, Senior Economist, Illinois Farm Bureau, as we break for markets and weather.
With the RFD Ag Market Summary for this Monday morning, I'm Jim Taylor. Corn slightly higher, beans higher, and wheat ending Friday higher. March corn closing at $3.78 1/4, up 2. May corn up 2 1/4, $3.86 3/4. July corn $3.94 1/4, up 2 pennies. January beans closing Friday $8.99 1/4, up 3 3/4. March beans up 3 1/2, 9.10 1/4. May beans, 9.23 3/4, up 3 1/2. March wheat closing Friday, 5.19 1/2, up 5 3/4. May wheat up 5 1/4, 5.25. July wheat 5.29 1/2, up 5 1/4. January bean meal 3.10.40, down 2.20. January bean oil ending Friday 28.17, up 23 cents. In current electronic overnight trading, March corn down 1/2, May corn down 3/4, and July corn down 1/2 penny, 3.93 3/4. January beans in the overnight down 4, March beans down 6, and May beans down 6, 9.17 3/4. March wheat in the overnight down 3 1/4, May wheat down 3 1/4, and July wheat down 3 1/2, 5.26. In the outside markets, March Brent crude oil down 1.20 a barrel, 60.48. The February gold contract 12.94.50 this morning, up $5. In the livestock market, February lean hogs 62.65, down 1.42. April lean hogs down $0.50, 67.35. February live cattle 124.97, up a dime. April live cattle up 45 cents, 126.37. January feeders 146.12, down 62 cents. March feeder cattle down 17 cents, 144.90. Cash livestock, Walnut livestock auction last week, steers 125 the top. The Illinois direct barrels and gilts trading $1 lower on Friday at 30 to 36. And I'm Jim Taylor for the RFD Radio Network.
Good morning, this is Dan Hicks from Freeze Notice Weather with the early morning weather update on the RFD Radio Network for this Monday morning. The Friday into weekend weather system brought significant snow to a large part of Illinois and the central and southern Midwest. Lightest amounts of snow here in Illinois fell in some far northern areas. Also in some far southern parts of the state where a mix of precipitation fell. In the areas of heaviest snowfall, amounts exceeded a foot in some locations. Early today, skies are partly cloudy to cloudy across the region with some areas of dense fog being reported. These areas of fog will linger across the area this morning with partly cloudy to cloudy skies expected today. Daytime highs today will be mostly in the upper 20s and 30s, with a few low 40s in the far southern part of the state. Milder air will continue to move eastward into the region through the middle part of the week, although areas with deep snow cover will see high temperatures no higher than the 30s during this milder period. Elsewhere, where snow cover does melt the next few days, daytime highs will climb into the 40s. No major precipitation is expected through midweek across Illinois. A weak system will bring a chance for some light snow and mixed precipitation into the area about Thursday and Friday. This first system will produce mostly light precipitation across the area. There are indications, though, for a stronger storm system once again affecting the Midwest by late Friday into the weekend. This system has the potential to produce some heavy snowfall in the northern and central parts of the Midwest into the weekend, with mixed precipitation falling in the southern part of the region. Behind this second system, colder Arctic air will make a return to the Midwest over the weekend into early next week, with temperatures dropping down well below normal. And right now it does look like a trend for below normal 6 to 10 day temperatures across a larger part of the Midwest, and a colder trend likely continuing on into the 11 to 15 day time frame in most locations.
All Ag.
All Illinois.
All Now.
There are a lot of smartphone apps out there, but do they have what's important to us here in Illinois? The Farm Week Now app does, and it's always at your fingertips. All Ag, All Illinois, and 24/7 where and when you need it for free. Go to your app or Play Store on your smartphone, hit search, type in Farm Week Now, that's one word, and download it today. Brought to you by Illinois Farm Bureau, where we're all about farm, family, and food.
You're going to need me.
You're going to need us.
All of us.
You're going to need our technical skills,
our math, our engineering skills.
You're going to need our help with your water, your air, your food.
You're going to need our organizational skills, our problem-solving skills.
You're going to need our determination, our honesty, our compassion.
You're going to need the next generation of leaders to face the challenges the future will bring.
And we promise, we'll be there when you need us.
Today,
4-H is growing the next generation of leaders. Support us at 4h.org.
RFD Radio Network's DeLoss Yankee connects rural routes for you. DeLoss delivers essential farm and food-related news to our listeners. His witty voice has been heard on the air for more than 2 decades. Here's a bit about his rural roots.
Growing up on a farm prepared me for my career. I try to know a little about a lot of things and let the people I interview be the experts. I've always wanted to be on the radio. I'm just happy to do what I enjoy.
Be it routes or roots, RFD Radio, FarmWeekNow.com, and Farm Week keep you connected.
That's all the time we have for this edition of RFD Illinois. We want to salute a community. Today, a village, in fact, in Logan County, the village of New Holland, population 264. Hello. Country sponsors our daily salute. Your farm is your family's legacy and a part of your hometown heritage. While you work sun up to sun down to get that job done, we're here protecting the things that you love every step of the way. Country Financial. Learn more about visiting countrycrop.com. Have a great day. For the entire RFD radio team, I'm Rita Frazier. Thank you for joining us here on the RFD Radio Network.
Hey, you know, a great way to reach farmers, reach those in agriculture, is through local radio.
Hi, I'm Joan London. When I needed to find senior care for my mom, I really struggled to find the right fit until I found an advisor, someone who had been through this before. That's why I recommend A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. They have experts who will help you ask the right questions and find the right place. Call A Place for Mom today.
To speak with a local senior living advisor, call A Place for Mom at 1-800-908-0265. That's 1-800-908-0265.
A Place for Mom has helped over 200,000 families find the right senior care for their parents, from assisted living to independent living, even Alzheimer's care, and have local advisors that can help explain your options at no cost to you.
To speak with a local senior living advisor, call A Place for Mom at 1-800-908-0265. That's 1-800-908-0265.
Call today.
My mom's a breast cancer survivor. The United Breast Cancer Foundation saved her life. Their free breast cancer exam caught the cancer early, and it saved her life. But now the foundation needs your help so they can continue offering free or low-cost breast screening exams, saving more women's lives. Help them by donating your car, whether it's running or not. They'll provide fast, free 24-hour pickup, and you receive a charitable tax deduction, plus the great feeling you'll get knowing your donated car is going to help save more lives. Just call 800-750-7220 to set the wheels in motion. They take cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs, running or not. Call 800-750-7220. The United Breast Cancer Foundation needs your help, and your donation could literally save women's lives, helping them catch breast cancer early, like they did with my mom. Donate today. 800-750-7220. 800-750-7220.